Because the moderates are cutting deals with the slave masters. The moderates are making peace with the enemies of human freedom. And here's these zealots, these crazies, who are on the side of human freedom. Maybe I should take what they're saying a little more seriously. So I began to read them and study them, and not just John Brown, of course, as many of you know, but some of the other extremists. And I ran into some stories that might sound a little familiar and inspiring to you. One of my favorite stories of abolition is this guy named Stephen Foster. Stephen Foster he was a member of the radical wing called the Garrisonians, followers of William Lloyd Garrison. And Foster began this habit of he decided that one of the main pillars, and this is the Garrisonian line, one of the main pillars maintaining slavery was the church in the North. They pretty much spent all their time attacking the North, not the South. And so the main pillars was the Northern church. And the reason why is because the church wouldn't speak out against slavery. The church would say, we don't like slavery, but it's not really our business. It's not our job to mess with slavery. And so the Garrisonians were like, if you don't condemn slavery, you're perpetuating slavery. There's no middle line. You can't stand on the fence on a question like slavery. And so Foster came to the conclusion that, well, if these churches won't take a stand against slavery, then they're objectively pro-slavery, then they shouldn't be allowed to preach. They shouldn't be allowed to continue their services. So Foster would do things like go into a small town in New England, and as soon as go in and walk into one of the churches, and he'd go in there, and as soon as the minister started preaching, Foster would stand up in the congregation and start denouncing slavery and denouncing this particular church for not taking a stand against slavery or for not allowing an abolitionist meeting to take place there. And the people would say, get the fuck out, as you might imagine. And he would continue to rail against slavery, and then the minister would say, point to the biggest dudes in the room and say, get this fucker out of here, right? And they would get him out, and they would physically throw him out, kick him out. He's thrown out of 24 churches in one summer, at least 5 from the second story. So they would physically throw him out of the church, and usually rough him up when they were doing it. So one day he goes to the church, and he goes to one church, gets kicked out, literally kicked out, brushes himself off, steps up, walks across the town square to the other church, goes into that church, does the same thing, stands up and begins denouncing slavery. And they do the same thing, they kick him out. Then he goes to the pacifist group, the Quakers, goes over to the Quaker church, and the Quakers wouldn't allow him to have abolitionist meetings there, begins to denounce the Quakers, and this time it's the non-violent Quakers who beat him up, lock him in a closet, decide what to do with him, then drag him out of the closet, beat him up again, and then throw him out. And so this guy can get the fucking Quakers to kick his ass. I'm interested in this kind of dude. Right? I'm interested in this guy. And so, and finally he did that about 3 or 4 times in one day before finally holding his own abolitionist meeting later in that evening. And I'm thinking to myself, damn if this guy isn't right, damn if this guy isn't courageous, and damn if there isn't something we can learn from people like Stephen Foster. So this led me to my next project, which is to write a book on fanaticism. And the book is totally in stages. I've got a couple of academic-y articles that if you want, send me an email, talk to me afterwards, and I'll email you them, and you can read them. But I want to write a book that's actually readable. So the book is still in its early phases, and as a result, I'm interested in y'all's criticisms and ideas and things, and I brought my little yellow pad to write stuff down. So the book I want to write is a book about fanaticism, and in some ways it's going to be a defense of it. It's going to be a defense of it. But so maybe what I'd like to do is start off is I'm interested in hearing from you all. Give me some examples of who you would think of when you think of an extremist. And just shout it out. I don't need hands.
Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda, thank God. Someone said it right off the bat. All right. Al-Qaeda.
ELF.
What?
ELF.
ELF, Earth Liberation Front?
Formerly known as.
Right. All right, good. Limbaugh, all right. Who else? What else?
Abortion doctor murderers.
Scott Roeder, yes.
Yeah.
Scott Roeder, the guy who just killed George Tiller at the beginning of the summer, yes. Thank you, good one. What else?
Timothy McVeigh.
McVeigh, good, good. Timothy McVeigh bombed the federal building in Oklahoma in 1995, yes.
Nestor Makhno.
Nestor Makhno, I mean. Not Lester, his brother. Right? Nestor Makhno, Ukrainian anarchist, the Russian Revolution, good.
Jared
Falwell.
Mario Buddha.
Thank God he's dead. Yes, Falwell. I'm sorry?
Mario Buddha.
Mario Buddha?
He was the anarchist that invented the car bomb.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that, Mario Buddha. All right, I thought it was Mario Brothers gag, but oh.
Eric Prince.
I'm sorry?
Blackwater. Eric Prince.
Eric Prince from Blackwater.
Yeah, he's running the mercenary thing.
Oh, in Iraq?
Islam.
Yeah, all right.
The modern day one.
Good, good.
They actually changed their name too. It's XE now.
XE.
Isn't he not being held accountable for all those Blackwater
Yeah,
deeds?
you have a contract renewed.
XE sounds so much gentler.
They always.
Other extremists. Anyone want to throw out? Think of
Dick Cheney.
Cheney. All right. Usually someone throws out Cheney. That's good to know. All right. Can't wait for his memoirs to come out. Anyone else? All right. This is a pretty good list. It's a pretty good list. What is it that makes someone or some organization extremist? Then? In other words, what's the criteria for defining any of these characters as extremists? Sure.
They're driven by religion or some other non-political motivation.
Driven by religion. All right.
Oh, Abram Stern.
Abram Stern.
Abram Stern from the Stern Gang.
Strong belief in.
All right. All right. I'm sorry.
Strong belief or conviction in something.
Strong beliefs and convictions. Good. What else?
Willingness to hurt others.
Willingness to hurt others.
Not compromising.
No compromising. Good.
Their absolute belief that they're right. I mean, if you listen to the language of Obama, like we can't allow this, we have to do this. It's always an absolute.
Yeah.
It doesn't allow for.
Right.
You know.
An absolute sense of the truth. Right. Good. 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 What else we got?
The language of denial is choice.
Absolutely.
It's a German term that means bureaucratic language.
Could I use the word of fundamentalism? Would that be?
Pretty much.
Well, all right.
When you say stagnation,
Stagnation. What do you mean by stagnation?
lack of progress in thought,
Like dogmatic thinking. Kind of?
dogmatic, say like a fundamental dogma that you have to abide by, and there's no questions asked to.
Right.
Say like the Tamil Tigers in India. Where they're just completely extreme. They abandon their families. Their only friend is their weapon, and they go. Their best moment is when they go into battle and they kill themselves. They get to take a picture with their leader. I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but
Right.
that's fanaticism.
All right. Good. Good.
Are you on the fringes of society or no?
On the fringes. Good. Good. What else? Anything else? We got a pretty damn good list here, I'd say. But anything else we're missing? Now, these are great. So I have driven by religion, strong convictions, willingness to hurt others, no compromise, absolutism, fundamentalism, stagnation or dogmatism, existing on the fringes. Now,
The belief in attack.
belief in attack, all right? Now, I think we've got some aspects here,
Desperation.
but I don't know if we've got every. I'm not sure if we've hit it yet. All right, driven by religion. Aren't lots of us or lots of people in this world driven by religion who aren't fanatics? So, yeah, they're driven by religion, but lots of other people are driven by religion too. So that might be part of the equation. And then if I think of a group like the ELF, run by atheistic anarchists, religion doesn't seem to play a role there.
Driven by ideology.
Driven by ideology? Well, lots of us are driven by ideology. A bunch of fucking anarchists at this group want to complain about people driven by ideology. That's a problem for us at this table, right? That's a problem for us at this table.
What about manipulation?
Manipulation? All right. Well, number one manipulator right now, I'd say, is on Fox News and the United States government's response. So I'd say there's a lot of manipulation going on in our political system.
I wouldn't just say Fox News, I would say news period.
Fair enough. I'll give you the entire mass media. You can have them. Manipulators, yes. Strong convictions. Many of us in this room, I would say, have strong convictions. So I'm not quite sure strong convictions. Willingness to hurt others. Of course, the number one institution willing to hurt others is the U.S. Army. So if we want to call willingness to hurt others be a category, that we have to include the entire militaries of all the world as extremists. Let's see, fundamentalism. Well, Quakers are fundamentalists. The Amish are fundamentalists, but if I run one into one in the street, I'm not worried about getting my ass blown
But
up
to
or
be
anything.
honest, that was your word, not his word.
All right.